The war on Christmas must end.
How dare we say Merry Christmas?
How dare you say that? It offends me.
Did you ever see Kamala Harris do that when she had that speech?
She said, how dare you say Christmas?
You've never seen it?
No.
Oh, my God. Okay, let's start with this because it's so crazy. Be charitable and say, well, there's probably a context where this makes sense.
Yeah, Satan is the Lord of the earth is the context.
Can I share my liberal conspiracy theory with y'all really quick? But I just can't get this out of my head, and I have to share it with some other progressive, like-minded people like me and see what they think. So by now we all know about the executive order that talks about foreign interference in our elections and how it says within 45 days an audit has to be done of the election. That's what the executive order says. 45 days from the election was December 20th, which coincidentally is the same day that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden canceled their Christmas plans to fly back to DC. So I think that's all very, very suspicious. But this is my actual conspiracy. In the wake of Donald Trump claiming the Panama Canal, claiming that Canada will be our 51st state, and claiming that we are going to try to acquire Greenland, and then, his cabinet picks and just everything that he's been doing is so unhinged. I really feel like everything that he's doing makes me feel like he low-key knows that he's not going to actually serve a second term. Is it just me? Everything he's doing is so crazily unhinged. The way that he's threatening tariffs on Mexico and Canada and threatening to annex all these different countries and just literally blowing up all of our foreign relations. Something in me is this is too much of a clown show. My conspiracy, there is going to be some type of evidence that comes forward that shows that Kamala won the election.
Yes, I just like the fact she's acknowledging this is a conspiracy theory. Trump sent this out recently. Merry Christmas to all, including the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal, where we lost 38,000 people in it building more than 10 years ago, always making certain that the United States put in billions of dollars in repair money, but will have absolute nothing to say about anything. Also, to Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, whose citizens' taxes are far too high. But if Canada was to become our 51st state, their taxes will be cut by more than 60%. Their businesses will immediately double in size, and they will be militarily protected like no other country anywhere in the world. Likewise, to the people of Greenland, which is needed by United States for national security purposes, and who want the U.S. to be there, and we will. Okay, Trump is triggering a lot of people with this very thing. You saw this guy spewing this nonsense. The other day, Tucker Carlson sat down in an interview with Tim Master. He was shocked.
You could just clearly tell he was, not the man he was. And it was kind of sad, because it's sad because you look at it and I think generally, a nice older man, nice older gentleman, right? And what they were doing to him, the Democratic Party, it would kind of look like elderly abuse to me.
Yes.
And, we knew we weren't going to go with him. And then after the first debate.
Wait, but so in your meeting with him, it was obvious that he
it was, so we give 16 questions 2 weeks in advance, the same 16 questions to each candidate. So, RFK answered all 16 questions. Probably most of them didn't answer them how we would like them to answer them, but they answered them. Joe Biden came in and he answered 5 of them. Donald Trump answered all 16. And then when Biden drops out of the race, but prior to Biden dropping out of the race, he's in the race around June or May. One of my vice presidents, a woman named Joan Corey out of my local, she sits on our general executive board, was at an event with Vice President Harris. And they're going through the line to get the picture, and Joan introduces herself to Vice President Harris. Says, "I'm Joan Corey. I'm on the General Executive Board for the Teamsters." She goes, "Teamsters? You better get on board. You better get on board. Better get on board soon." Says it to my vice president.
To her face?
To her face. So she comes back. We have the meeting the next day.
Damn.
And she tells me this.
I thought I was arrogant. That's really arrogant.
So she tells me this. So I call up Marty Walsh. He wasn't the Secretary of Labor, but, he was pushing hard for us to make the endorsement. I'm like, let me ask you a question, Marty. Excuse my French. Who does lady think she is? Like, if I want to support from any organization, I am not going to point my finger in someone's face and say, you better get on board or else. But that's the attitude of this whole party.
The union boss declined to endorse Harris or Trump in November. He pointed out that he is being given a platform at the Republican convention, but not at the Democratic conventions. O'Brien pulled many of the Democrat skeleton out of the closet in the interview with Carson, describing an arrogant Democrat nominee, pushing them to step in line. This is a mistake these people put out, and it haunted them the way they never thought. At a certain point, when I look at that terrible mistake they made, I was like, is Kamala even following the rules that govern campaign? Because I don't understand. How can you say, oh, without you, she was confident that she's going to defeat Trump.
I was amazed when the president's speaking a lot when he was on the campaign trail. What do you do? And it drives people crazy, but they just say, new audience, I got to give the same message every single time. And sometimes you carry the message and you go, wow, it's the same speech. Since the president won, he's putting new things into all his remarks, whether it's the Patriot Awards or what we saw yesterday in front of Charlie Kirk's group.
Yeah. I think part of it is like when you're running for office, you want to be very consistent and tell people this is what I'm going to do. Now he's won. It's not like he's making some giant crazy turn here. He's just trying to maybe put some meat on the bones of what the agenda is going to be now that he's got the power soon of governance.
So he's talking about an Iron Dome for the country. I want Greenland from Denmark. And by the way, I want the Panama Canal. So I asked the brain room about the Panama Canal. They say there's no proof that China owns any portion of it. We use 72% of all traffic is American, and the prices did go up 15%, nearly $5 billion over the last year. But they say it's because of low water levels, and they have to slow down the amount of traffic that goes through. But you know what? Rattle their cage. Make them justify it. And let's see if we can get those prices down. After all, we are a frequent customer.
I do think part of this, though, is national security. You think of Greenland, for example. The Arctic is a major, I think, battle area for the future in terms of who controls the Arctic. And I think the same applies to the Panama Canal. China may not control it, but they, my understanding is, have some very strategic interests in that area. So part of this, I think, is Trump starting a negotiation with, we want the whole thing back. And then the Panamanians might say, well, hang on, no, but let's have this conversation. Trump just announced yesterday his ambassador to Denmark, which owns Greenland. Can you imagine having that job now or being the ambassador to Panama? You're going to have a busy opening few weeks here.
I think it's one.
Yes, to be truthful, when Tom was doing campaigns throughout, I never thought there would be a day I'll be hearing this. I'm sure. Like Canada, now Panama, a lot of things are just coming in new. Let's just hope and pray that he should be able to accomplish his missions so people can be living comfortable. That is all I can say. Thank you guys for always being there, sharing on my videos. God bless you abundantly. For the videos you see when I put up after this clip, it is just for algorithm. They refuse sometimes to recommend videos. We struggling to understand exactly how this people work. Reason I'm trying to put this up to study the system, how it works. This is a compilation of clips, different versions. You can end here if you don't like to continue.
Problems.
I don't
Trump isn't one to let bygones be bygones.
The thing that disturbs me is not just that.
Just, went like, how dare you? Do you even know what an audit is? And I'm like,
Women and so many men are
theory that a lot of people seem to be coalescing around.
They were too woke, insisting that people use the term Latinx.
You have to say they. No, you have to do this.
Stop with the virtue signaling.
Step away from woke. Focus less on who is woke and more on who is broke.
I've never seen that.
I saw so many liberals getting super excited every time Kamala had a new celebrity endorsement. But we all know for a fact that these celebrity endorsements are not free.
Oh, is it true that they paid you $1 million for the endorsement for Kamala?
Not true.
Now it's time to unite everybody.
So, with that, I'm going to shake it off.
Figure out a way to say thank you.
That guy's name, he's such an absolute prick. I can't stand him. But anyway,
Hey there. You're not doing great. Terrible night last night. It was a terrible night.
What will the rest of us be doing on day one?
Bishop Vigano, he says that
Well, if I look at the big picture, it doesn't look good. So I'm going to work on this.
No matter what's going on out there in the world, of course, the worst things could happen.
One I've known, which is every president, who's been really red.
the ICE officers across the country.
The news is right. Maybe they're
Senators.
The Nixon administration was
Kind of dropped off talking about Elon Musk. Katie, I just want